everybody, welcome back to Kavanaugh's Corner. Here on the channel I review 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays, standard Blu-rays, movies and TV shows, things like that. I talk about their technical qualities and whether or not it's worth purchasing. I'm a big physical media lover, and if you are too, definitely make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Today, though, we are going to cut right to the chase. We're talking about Thief. This is one of my all-time favorite films with a masterful performance by James Caan, exquisite direction by Michael Mann. This is just a masterpiece. I love a crime drama. I love this movie. I've seen it probably way too many times. And today we're talking about this all-new 4K remaster here on the Criterion Collection. Now, funny enough, I have had the Blu-ray for this for quite some time. And this is Criterion number 691. They kept the same spine number there. And I have to say that this was a movie that when I heard it was coming out on 4K, I had actually just watched it less than a week earlier, right before the announcement. So this is a movie that I really love. I was watching it with a friend of mine, and he had never seen it before. He ended up absolutely loving it. And this has got Dolby Vision HDR. It's a brand new 4K digital restoration, and it's actually the director's cut of the film, which is my preferred version. And it has a 5.1 DTS HD master audio track. And ironically enough, when it comes to the audio, I think there actually may have been some kind of a mistake when it comes to the printing of the information here. And I'll talk more about that when we get to the audio part of this review. First and foremost, I'm just going to show you the packaging here. It is pretty much identical to the original Blu-ray packaging. Biggest difference is when we open it up here, you can see that the Blu-ray and the 4K now have the exact same theming, whereas the older Blu-ray had a different style title on the DVD. So again, pretty similar. And then, of course, the biggest one in terms of the packaging is the Blu-ray had actually a pretty nice like booklet here. And for some reason with the 4K, they ended up doing like another one of these kind of like fold-out type of things. And I don't know, it's kind of lackluster, but they did update the information about the master of the film. And it does say here, Thief is presented in the aspect ratio of 1:85:1, supervised and approved by director Michael Mann. The new restoration presented on the 4K Ultra HD disc was created from the 35mm original camera negative. The additional Willie Dixon fisherman scene was taken from a 35mm internegative made from a 35mm print. And when I start talking about the picture quality in a moment, I'm going to notate that scene in particular that was exclusive to the director's cut. Also approved by Mann, the original stereo soundtrack was remastered to 5.0 surround. Again, interesting note there. From the 35mm 4-track magnetic audio stems. The feature is presented in Dolby Vision HDR, high dynamic range, on the 4K UHD disc, and high definition standard dynamic range on the Blu-ray. And I gotta say, to jump right into the picture quality of this disc, I have to say that this was a pleasant surprise. The reason why I say that is because that older Blu-ray was absolutely nothing to sneeze at. That was an incredible Blu-ray, and it still holds up to this day. Watching it upscaled to 4K on my Blu-ray player here just a few months ago was something of glory. I mean, it just looked absolutely gorgeous. Now, this 4K disc, however, steps up the picture quality significantly in a couple of major ways. The black levels on this are significantly improved. Some people may watch this new 4K and kind of not like it because it is a good amount darker than the transfer on that older Blu-ray. That is a big change between this 4K disc and the older Blu-ray. The older Blu-ray tended to lighten some of the darker sequences, and there are quite a lot of them. I mean, right off the bat is a nighttime sequence. And this new Blu-ray here, thanks to that Dolby Vision HDR, it really gives you much deeper and inkier blacks, but without that heavy black crush. And it's really impressive. It's done extremely well. Shadow detail is still there, but the darker scenes, those nighttime scenes, definitely have a significant difference in that black level. So that's a big difference between this one and the Blu-ray. The other biggest difference is the color differentiation on this disc. Now, what do I mean by that? Street lights, for example, that's a really good example. Street lights are much more noticeably different colored hues now than they used to. Flashlights are different from like car lights. The skies, that scene that I mentioned earlier about Willie Dixon, which is a director's cut addition to this movie. That sequence, although the quality of it didn't seem as sharp as the rest of the film, the colors of that sky, they call it the Sky Chief in that scene looks unreal now. It looks like a painting. It is absolutely gorgeous. And the shadows of James Caan and Willie Dixon there, whereas before on the Blu-ray, they were almost in profile, completely blacked out. And this one, you can actually make out some details of their clothing now. It's a really interesting watch. Colors now are much more vibrant. Blues are much deeper. The tone of the film definitely has that aquamarine kind of teal look to it. And it's much more noticeable now than it was on previous Blu-rays. However, skin tones and everything are really well balanced and very realistic. Detail level is super high on this, and it was really good on that previous Blu-ray. But now you can see details on James Caan's face. Very, very clear things now. James Caan's sideburns in this movie are really something to behold, but in close-ups, they just reveal so much more detail. I also love the style that Michael Mann has in this film, and James Caan really looks like $1 million in like every scene in this movie. And now you can really see like detail level on clothing. I mean, like I said, before you could see it, but now it's bumped up just a little bit more. And I think that really is the biggest thing to talk about with this disc, is that it's a bump from that older Blu-ray, but it may not be enough for everybody. A big standout to me is the very important vault scene. That's all I'm going to say. I won't spoil this movie, because if you haven't seen Thief, you really need to see this movie. But that vault scene, now the sparks and everything just looks so bright. The sparks and everything now have this bright white and orange kind of color tone to them. And fire and everything just has this orangey yellow glow to it. It's absolutely beautiful. You know, like I said, there are some differentials with this disc versus that older Blu-ray. I think they're significant enough to warrant an upgrade, but picture-wise, this may not be a big upgrade for a lot of people. If you really don't care about those things, and that older Blu-ray is going to do it for you, it's fine. It's totally fine. For me, this is a movie that I love. I adore this film. So for me, this was one that I had to get no matter what. And I'm really glad that I did, because like I said, in my mind, that better black level, the better color spectrum, the detail level, all of those things combined really make this kind of a must purchase for me. Now, as for the audio, as far as I could tell, the audio on this 4K disc is exactly the same as that older Blu-ray. Now, the interesting thing is, and I mentioned this a few times at the beginning of the video, that the case itself and the slip on the inside both say 5.0 surround. And again, that DTS HD master audio track, it actually came up in the player when I put it in as a DTS HD 5.1. Now, whether or not this is an error with the printing of the disc or the coding or whatever you want to call it, I'm not sure. But it really didn't seem much different from the older Blu-ray, which had a 5.1 DTS HD master audio soundtrack. It seemed like it was almost the exact same thing, if not the exact same thing. I haven't really been able to find much more information about this. Whether or not it's a mistake, I don't know. I'm going to try to keep up to date with the news or anything, and if you guys know if this is an error or not, please leave a comment below because I'm not sure. But that being said, the 5.1 is still pretty great. It sounds amazing. Tangerine Dream's score for this movie just friggin' rocks. And I love that early 80s synthesizer mixed with like electric guitar and everything. It's just so fantastic. I absolutely love it. And it bumps on this DTS track on here. It is amazing. The sound effects are crystal clear. The surround effects are used extremely well. Dialogue is crystal clear. I just love the sound of this film. It is amazing. Now, it's not really noted here in the case, but the 4K disc also includes an audio commentary with Michael Mann and James Caan. That's a really great commentary track. It's definitely worth a listen if you are a fan of this film. James Caan talking about the movie is pretty fun. And as for the special features are all relegated to the standard Blu-ray that comes with it. And they're all the same special features as the previous Criterion release. There's interviews with Michael Mann, James Caan, and Johannes Schmoling. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm probably not. He's the lead guy from Tangerine Dream. And they all have a little featurette where they're talking about their experience on Thief. The interview with the late, great James Caan is excellent. It's actually really funny, and I'm glad he was able to do that before he passed away, because this was his favorite film. It's my favorite performance of his, and it's great that he actually really loved this movie. There's also an original trailer, and the both 4K and the Blu-ray come with English subtitles. So, what are my thoughts on the 4K of Thief? I absolutely loved it. I was going to love this no matter what. I love this movie. In my opinion, it's absolutely worth the pickup. But for those of you that already own the Blu-ray, I will say you may not really want to upgrade unless you really love this movie. Like I said, the upgrades are significant to me, but unless you have the home theater system to really be able to see those differentials and black levels, like if you have an OLED or maybe a really high-end mini LED TV, you may not notice that. The colors are an improvement. I will say that. I did love the look of that Dolby Vision HDR. That's a big one. I know not all of you are really big fans of darker films, and this is definitely one of them. So you got to be the judge. You know, just, it's a word of warning. It is a significantly darker transfer, but I liked it. I really liked it. You may too. If you want to pick up Thief, I'll leave a link in the description below that goes to Amazon. I thought it was awesome. Absolutely awesome. What are your thoughts on Thief? Do you like this movie? Did you pick up the 4K? Or are you just going to keep your Blu-ray? Let me know in the comments section down below. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so I can keep bringing you reviews like this. If you want to go the extra mile and really help me out, you can use that super thanks button, or you can scan that little code or click the link in the description and buy me a coffee. The buy me a coffee thing definitely gets me that funding faster so I can continue to pick up these movies like this so I can review them, because Criterion doesn't send me these. I had to pre-order this one directly through them, and it actually came a day early, so that was pretty sweet. So until next time, I wish you all the very best. Please stay safe, keep collecting, and take it easy.